I don't want you to, like, I want you to play ball. I thought you said you didn't want us to play ball. I do want you to play ball. For me. You want us to play for Dallas? Basically, yeah. Just being like, throw the game, everything's cool. And yes, they have penises that apparently are down to the floor.
Because, yeah, it shows, like, a quick scene of him with the pictures, and then you could see their two legs and this long hose in the middle.
Before he shows them the pictures, it goes, you see between their leg, and there's this just giant cock between the two of them. And at one point, he throws the pictures down, and they both flinch. My guess is paper cut.
Yeah.
So, it's that big. And then they're just like, and basically the pictures are showing that they're using sweatshop child labor in Calcutta, and they're like, oh my god, this is horrible. And then, of course, one's been sent to Jenna. So Jenna walks in, and she's like, how dare you, blah, blah, blah. And then she can't stop looking at their dicks, and starts making comments about it. It's just like, you're going to sit here and argue about who's the bigger penis? Large cock.
No, throbbing cock.
Throbbing cock.
I don't even know what I'm saying anymore.
Huge wanger. What am I saying? And it runs out.
We cut to a sad song sung by Trey Parker in a South Park voice,
which I was that close to using as the intro, but I'm like, nah.
And I think right before the blackmail scene, when he's talking about the kids, I think he uses.
He does. This is the first South Park reference. He uses Mr. Garrison's voice.
He uses Mr. Garrison's voice.
Yeah. We all know how much Doug Raymer cares about kids.
Yeah,
he literally does the Garrison.
Is that because I can almost guarantee you there's a lot of people that go into this movie that don't know who these two are, and he probably did that voice for the people who went into this movie liking who were fans of South Park.
That's exactly what they did.
That's good for him. So he does a typical South Park.
There's
literally song more or less.
There's literally a South Park reference in there that is thrown in there for the fans for the trailer. And that's the Cartman one. Right. We'll get to that later.
Because that's the more obvious one.
Yeah.
So he sings a song that progressively starts to become about him.
Yeah, it starts out with, your life's spinning out of control, and the whole world is out to get you.
And then it ramps up,
and it just starts like then eventually it gets to a point of, look out ahead, there's a truck changing lane. There's you got some yellow crumbs on your upper lip, and those warts on your dick aren't going to go away unless you use topical cream every day. And to his credit, Trey Parker just looks so embarrassed. So like, what the hell just happened?
So he pulls a Yui, goes to the airport, and takes a plane to Calcutta.
Yes.
And there's a joke. They land. There's a goat in the back seat. We get the and then we get Robert Stack, who, along with Al Michaels and Bob Costas, is the greatest thing in this movie.
I mean, Robert Stack. The kids today don't know who he is.
I didn't even think Robert Stack would play ball like he does.
Well, because he literally is just being himself. He's doing unsolved mysteries because that's what it is. It's a
because Joe Cooper disappeared.
There was this fantastic fucking television series that I think is in the US. I think it's on Hulu. I think they have old episodes of it.
Amazon Prime as well.
Is it? Okay. And it's just this fantastic episode that Robert Stack used to host with that phenomenal voice. And it was
coming back, by the way.
Yeah, I know. I heard.
I don't know who you're going to get to replace Robert Stack.
Good luck. Fucking good luck. Whoever you're going to get, you're not going to be as good. Just deal with it. And it would just be like this. They would show dramatizations of crimes that have never been solved.
Yeah.
And it would just but his voice, and he would narrate what was going on. And it was just this show that was a weird runaway hit that everybody watched. And
with like a dope theme song.
Yeah, which they play in this movie.
Yeah.
And he plays it straight up, Robert Stack. He is the host
he's saying
of Unsolved
like
Mysteries.
ridiculous things.
And if you look at all the computer monitors, they're all playing solitaire.
Yeah.
Right? Because that was the whole thing. He used to just walk by this bed of computers of people doing stuff. I don't even know what they were doing. Like,
is this an office?
Yeah,
or some
I don't
that
know.
You've just invaded, Mr.
They
Stack?
never explain what the fuck he was doing on the show, but that's the thing. But he starts out of like Doug, because basically now Coop has disappeared.
Yeah.
Because he didn't tell anyone where he was going, and he's just like, we don't know where he is, but we asked his teammate and best friend. He's like, Coop? I don't care where he is. He could be hanging from his neck in his fucking closet.
Theory number one. He's
hanging from his neck in his fucking closet.
Cut to a dramatization, some old guy hanging, and he scratches his nose.
Mm-hmm.
I think what was the other? There was other working theories.
Yeah.
We find out he goes to Calcutta to stop the child labor laws.
So he walks in and they're like, "Oh, you need a hard hat," and it's one of the cheesiest jokes in the whole movie. The hard hat is a hard turban.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's 98.
Yeah, it's a cheesy joke. It's a little low-hanging fruity.
So we cut to the Denzel Club, number 5, where the beers are playing the felons again.
Yes. And then it's just like basically Reamer's sort of throwing it a bit, and then all of a sudden Coop shows up. And they have this like film noir thing of him just like literally turning away going, ooh. And he like touches his lips.
Yeah, it's just whatever. And then he starts to try to psych the team up, and the teams are getting psyched up, and then he thinks he's doing it, and then he turns around, oh, Coop's back.
Yeah.
And then the dramatization of no.
Yeah.
Like a little soap opera or whatever.
Yeah.
And then at halftime, they're down like 16-0.
Yeah.
And they have some sort of like Polynesian halftime show.
They have this halftime show that's like,
where the beers are playing the natives and the felons are playing the white man who took over.
Yeah. Very weird. And then
Squeak's dressed like a pineapple.
Because that's what you do. And then they sort of have it out. They have the conversation like,
well, they're on a bridge and they start fighting with sticks.
It starts out with him going like, what the hell are you doing? He's like, I was cleaning up your mess. And blah, blah, blah. So then they just start fighting with sticks. And then, with that, I think this is where Squeak gets launched.
No, he has his talk.
Oh, right, yeah.
Where he's like, you two got the shit! And then he's starting to talk them out of stop fighting, but then the mic gets lowered so everyone can hear, and he has this real heartfelt speech about friendship.
They're like, we were all friends playing, and now look at us, we're sports stars and everything like that.
We're fighting about money, and it's bullshit.
Yeah.
And they were like, you know what, you're right.
Yeah.
And then he gets launched.
And then they fall, and they mimic the Titanic, where basically they're falling down and like, make sure you remember to hold your breath when you land. And then they fall and nothing happens. Squeak, of course, gets launched, and he lands in the firework pit, so he gets blown up. And then they just sort of go, like, I'm sorry. Yeah, me too. The music swells, and they make out.
Yep, full-on make
out, tongue and all. Because, of course, they do it in the proper way of dude.
And then they
make out.
And then the fireman, like, I got 2 here.
Oh.
Okay.
And he backs away slowly. Like, all right.
Actually, you guys are busy.
Mm-hmm.
So they make their comeback.
Yeah, they
get a bunch of home runs, and now they're down by 2 with 2 on, 2 out, just like Reggie Jackson.
Yep.
And Coop hits the big home run. Mm-hmm. Well, he misses.
Well, they mimic the original thing. And by the way, before this, they were like, like, what should I do to psych him out? I can't come up with anything. Just tell him he's fat, but do it real subtle. And then it's Cartman.
Yeah.
You're fat. You fat. And it's like, there's the trailer moment. But then, he hits it, and it's a mimic of the original where he throws it up, it bounces off the rim, so
felons can't convert.
Felons try to convert by one guy throws it up, the other guy throws it up, it doesn't work, so now they can try to save it, and then Reamer jumps in, throws it up to keep it alive, as they say, and then Coop grabs it, throws it behind the back. It goes in.
Scoreboard explodes.
Yeah. Scoreboard explodes because apparently that wasn't expected.
They win the game.
They win.
Right before this, Yvette basically tells Baxter to fuck off.
Because it starts out with the last
the chrome
innuendo of, because the joke is she could suck the chrome off a trailer hitch. So she literally hands him one, and her mouth is chrome colored, and she's like, "Do you want me to start on the second one?" But
now here's my thing.
Yeah.
So if the Bears lost this game, the ownership would revert to her. Mm-hmm. But right before they win the game, even if they lose the game, she says "fuck you."
Yeah.
So she would have been fine.
It would have been fine.
Either way, right?
Fine. I mean, in all fairness, if the movie goes the way you assume it would, if everybody lives happily ever after, she's still going to get part of the team anyway. If everyone lives happily ever after, because of what ends up happening here.
So Coop ends up with Jenna. Mm-hmm. Reamer ends up with Yvette.
Yeah, in the most awkward way possible.
And Squeak ends up with a woman who's actually a dude.
Is a dude. Because that was a thing that they set up in the bar.
Yeah.
Because he's just like, oh my god,
look
at
that girl.
The
girl from the bar is like, that's a guy.
And then he's like, that's not a guy. And then he literally starts naming traits of men, i.e. upturned nose and the cutest little Adam's apple. And he's like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Okay.
And then he
pukes because he was hungover. But, so then he goes to the man in the dress. And then this is when Reamer just sees her and just like taps her on the shoulder,
and they just make.
And then she just jumps into his arms and they make out. So. I guess
Matt Stone gets to make out with Victoria Silverstedt, Playmate of the Year, and Jenny McCarthy. I think also Playmate of the Year. I don't know.
Probably. They did all right for themselves.
So they skate around with the Denslow Cup
because
squeak in the Denslow Cup.
Yes. And then they do that. He gets hit off the backboard because that's what you do.
Reggie Jackson shows up.
Mm-hmm. This is a good reaction.
Here.
Because Lazy Boy, the ball that he created from his chair, blew up, and
so he's like, I took to some kid, some wretched
kid was trying to get away from it, and he's like, you got to hold on to this stuff. I remember the 3 home runs I hit. I got 2 of them. Some wretched little shit stole the 3rd one, and Trey having the ball was just like, oh yeah, that sucks, dude. And then later on, just as he's walking away, hey Coop, I don't have your fucking ball.
I was just gonna say good luck next year. Oh, thanks, Reggie.
Thanks.
Maybe we get a drink later. Yeah. Sure. And then they all win happily ever after. Live happily ever after. I mean, credits. I'm surprised. You think a movie like this, usually there'd be like bloopers in the.
Yeah, I honestly thought
this
I remembered.
Movie smacks of bloopers.
I thought I remembered some, but it turns out that the VHS had bloopers after the credits.
Oh, okay.
And because I'm like, I remember bloopers. Why would the VHS threw them on the actual thing?
Oh, okay. And I'm sure it's on the DVD. Because if there's anything, it's most parody movies, I think.
Yeah, they usually do.
Because you're making jokes throughout the whole movie. I'm sure there's a lot of jokes that end up on
the lot of outtakes,
cutting room.
I'm sure.
A lot of outtakes, right? So this is a really good movie. I'm going to give it 8. Here, your mom's going to squeak! Out of 10. As far as parody movies go, this is up there. Really, it truly is. Yeah. I could probably see why it fell under the radar, because let's be honest, when we're parody movies at their prime, we're talking like 80s, right?
Yeah, 80s was the most solid
right?
parody.
So we're like we're almost in the 2000s, and we know what happens to parody movies when we hit the 2000s.
Yeah,
I think Scary Movie 1 is pretty good.
Yeah.
After that, it all goes
downhill.
To shit.
Yeah.
And then you get the fucking movies. Yeah. You get the epic movie and the disaster movie and Meet the Spartans and
awful shit.
Stuff that thankfully we'll never talk about.
Parody is dead, basically.
Parody is dead. So this, in all intents and purposes, is one of the last good to great parody movies.
Yeah.
Now, another reason why parody movies don't work anymore is because parody movies are powered on offensive jokes.
Yeah. And you're not allowed to make those anymore.
That's a no-no now.
Yeah.
So that's why we don't see... That's truthfully the reason why we don't see movies like this anymore. Not only that, but, again, this movie was good and it did horrible at the box office.
Yes.
And as far as MVPs...
Hang on. Oh. I have to save mine first. Right. And I have a little bit of a story. And it goes along with mine. So I'm going to give it 9 khakis out of 10. Because, for all the reasons you said, this movie is fantastic, but it has a great personal memory for me, involving past and future guest Aaron. Way back when VHS was still a thing, folks, we lived together in a shared house. A bunch of us rented a house, and it had a pool and a hot tub.
Were you paying 1/12 rent?
No, I was paying 1/7. And
enough to play basketball.
Pretty much. So we got the bright idea. Of course, alcohol was involved,
as it usually is.
Yeah, and this is not now where TVs are like the flat panel ones that are weigh practically nothing. We brought out a tube television, which weighs however the fuck much it weighs, and a VCR, kids, with a VHS copy of BASEketball, and we sat in the hot tub, drinking a mini keg of beer, watching BASEketball. Still one of my favorite memories because, as I said, 1/7, our 5 roommates, one by one, came out and literally said, "What are you 2 idiots doing?" I was like, "What do you mean? This is brilliant." And they were just laugh away. And nobody told anyone what was going on, except for it to be like, you got to see what those 2 idiots are doing. And that's literally just one by one. To me, that is one of my favorite memories. So this movie gets a 9.
The Reamer to your coupe.
Very much so, yes.
Or the coupe to your Reamer. I don't know how you guys want to figure that out.
I would say he's the Coop because, he's got shit together a little bit better than I do.
Fair enough.
But yeah, so that is one of the reasons why I absolutely love this movie. Just